You do not need a big list to make a lot of money as a coach, and I'm going to prove it to you in this video. So let's get into it. Today, I want to share with you the story of one of my most amazing clients ever, an amazing person, a guy by the name of Phil Powis. Phil Powis is a very, very successful entrepreneur, and I am fortunate to be a person who has helped him out in his journey. So let me tell you the story of his first successful launch. Phil came to me years ago when he and his wife were building a hearing practice. She was a audiologist, I think that's what the word is, and he had been doing marketing and doing things in order to essentially grow that practice. And he had done they'd made some really, really good results with that. And then he wanted to get into actually teaching audiologists how to grow their practices. And what he decided to do was he decided to put on a transformational retreat that I believe took place in Costa Rica specifically for audiologists. And the really interesting thing was that at the time when he launched this retreat, at the time he did this promotion, he had less than 100 people on his email list. And so when I worked with him, I walked him through some of my specific launch methodologies. And what we did was we optimized his messaging. That's one of the things that really, really contributed to his success. He also really, really focused on those personal connections, because without if you don't have a huge audience, you have time to really, really nurture the connections. That intimacy is critical. And related to his messaging, what Phil ended up doing with my support and assistance was he decided to have this retreat specifically for audiologists. And the promise of the retreat was not only was it going to be a way for them to disconnect, because many of them were overworking and were getting burned out. So it was a promise of not just rejuvenation, but also of business growth, because Phil taught business growth strategies at this retreat in addition to the rejuvenation aspect. And then of course the other thing which is present is that he had a very, very specific targeted niche. He was focusing on audiologists that were overworked but still wanted to grow their practices. And these days, one of the easiest ways you can optimize your messaging is by simply being more targeted with your audience and the promise you are giving that audience. So when all the smoke cleared, he did this promotion. He ended up getting 10 people to sign up for his $5,000 retreat, resulting in $50,000 in sales from a less than 100 person email list. $50,000 from a less than 100-person email list. Hopefully, you'll find that inspiring, because here's the thing. When we put out numbers like a $100,000 launch or a $50,000 launch, for example, that might sound like a big number, and it is a big number. And we also need to consider that, we're not selling, like if it was $100 product, how many $100 products would you have to sell to make $50,000? We're not selling 500 $100 products. That is difficult. You do need a bigger audience to do that, full stop. But if you're looking to sell 10 units of $5,000, you really, really don't need a huge size audience to do that. It's more about the quality of your relationship with that audience, and it's about the quality of the message you send to that audience and the transformation you can provide to that audience. And that's something that I know you can do, because you're good at what you do. And most likely, if you're listening to this, you probably are already doing 6 figures, multiple 7 figures in revenue as a coach, which means that you do have people following you. You do have people paying attention to you. So the key to making $50,000, $100,000 for your next launch is to find the 10, 20 or so people that really want what you have to have and really put the right message in front of them. And if you do that, you could be like Phil and have your next $50,000 launch. So that's how we do it. This is Ron Reich. Excited to talk more about this with you in the next video. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.